From the Middle is proud to be a founding member of Odd Pods Media. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 260 something. We are three middle class guys living in the middle of America, middle chapters of lives, point of view somewhere in the middle stuff. We are comedy, culture, and entertainment podcast that sometimes does interviews. Today, we're just simply interviewing each other as we talk about Kory getting crop dusted in an elevator by a tween. We talk about trying to figure out who celebrities are who we may or may not have ever met. We learn what a rat boy's summer is. Congratulations, pencil neck geeks. And then after the break, Dillon talks about watching The Lion King. We talk about wanting to be the McDonald's old guys. And if you've ever been at a McDonald's, inside of a McDonald's during breakfast time, you know exactly what it is we're talking about. And then we talk about a bunch of streaming. It's a fun one. We hope you enjoy it.
Oh, for the love. Sorry, just clearing my Mountain Dew hole. I got my phone hole cleaned today.
That's where you keep it?
You're so cerebral and you're so developed and evolved. From the middle after dark over here.
So I'm in Manhattan and I'm getting on the elevator and I get on with this nice family of three, and they're very sweet and very huggable. They're very plump. Nice little family of three, mom, dad, and son. And I hear the mom say, I have never been more excited to take a cold shower. It's 97 degrees here, and they're clearly tourists and they've been out all day. So we get on the elevator, they push 5, they ask me what floor, I say 22, and they go, oh, look at you. Just to be funny, we have a little exchange, it's fine. So it's like lobby 2, 3, 4. Between floors 4 and 5, the son, who's maybe, I'm going to say 10 or 11, just lets out a huge fart. Like a wet, loud, like it didn't sneak out, it blasted out. And the parents are just embarrassed. And they're like, Drew. And I just start laughing and I go, good one, buddy. And they're like, how dare you, this poor guy, right when we get off the elevator. And I go, you crop dusted me, man. And the mom, she's trying to be sweet. And she goes, well, at least it doesn't smell. I'm sorry. And then they walk off. And then the dad's like, seriously, that poor guy. It was so funny. Drew just crop dusted me in the elevator. Good times.
You should have just said, I'm from Ohio. I get it.
Yeah, it's totally fine. How you guys doing?
Doing good. Good.
Somebody's been drinking.
Yeah. Way too much water for this guy at this time of night. The college football pre-order people are playing today that bought the deluxe edition. I didn't. I'm going to have to wait till Friday, but seeing people post things, it's very easy to ignore some of the noise in the news and just hone in on college football right now. So that's what I'm doing to stay excited and enthusiastic. And it's been fun. It's really enjoyable. How about you? How about you, Kendall?
Nothing. I've been brushing up on my magic tricks lately. So it's been maybe we'll start a side gig. Got this one. Watch this. Where'd it go?
Whoa.
Where'd it go?
Nice.
Fancy.
Yeah. Anyway.
Can you make it appear behind Kory's ear now?
I can try.
That would have been incredible if you guys had planned that out.
Like I brought a red ball to New York and then
just in case I said something, you're like, let's just be prepared. you do a trick and I'll be ready to pull the coin. Or if you had said, okay, and then you pulled a coin out, not a red ball. But I was still like, whoa. That would have been
that's our little reminder to tell people that we have a YouTube channel. Watch my amazing. I spent a lot of money on. I had to get my thumb perfectly casted. To it cost. I don't want to tell you how much it cost. It was crazy.
You keep working on those tricks, you could be famous. Speaking of famous people, you guys ever been in a situation where you're pretty sure that you've bumped into a person who's famous, but you don't recognize their features in any way. You just, by their clothing and by the people around them reacting, you know this is a famous person, but you don't know who it is?
No, I live in Ohio. Sorry, what's it like in Manhattan, Kory?
No, this happened in Columbus.
Sorry. Oh, did it? Wow.
Yeah. Okay,
never mind.
So I'll paint the picture and then maybe you'll have some examples. So I'm boarding in Columbus yesterday, Sunday, for LaGuardia. And at my gate, these two guys sit down, and just right away, based on the amount of accessories they have on, nicer jewelry and things, I'm like, okay, these guys are like either mafia or somebody. And their clothes were pretty nice. And they were speaking with an energy about different things. Like, I think he's over there. We're still waiting on him. Well, just some small talk sort of clued me into like, these are just not normal business travelers. Then when I'm boarding, the first class boarding group goes, and there's an old guy over 6 feet tall, way too old for his hair to be as black as it was. And it's the shaggy British rocker haircut. It's like a shaggy mullet. It's long on top and cut unevenly, but then it's got the long back.
Yeah.
And then he's got an awkwardly overly manicured goatee only. A Hello Kitty button down, tight black jeans, and some gator or snakeskin cowboy boots. The two guys that I had seen at my gate are like his handlers. And he's stumbling onto the airplane like he's had one too many. Sits down in the first class seat, and then the two cronies sit back with me in regular plebeian seating.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody boards, the boarding doors closed, and the British rocker looking old man dude, jewelry everywhere, like Rolex watch, like chains, he comes back to the two guys that are in regular seating, and the flight attendant is like, sir, we're trying to leave, like, you got to sit down. And he's like, oh, sorry. Where he goes back to first class and starts mowing down on a burger. And I'm just like, he's clearly somebody. That's a very unique look for Ohio at that age. So then I start Googling, like, were there any rock shows in Columbus tonight? And then I've heard, I follow a lot of comedians' podcasts, and what one of their pet peeves is when somebody recognizes them but doesn't know for sure who they are or what they recognize the comedian from. So they're like, I hate it when people are like, they see me, they clock me, they go to their phones and start trying to figure out what show or movie they think they've seen me in. And Bobby Lee, for example, always gets confused with other Asian comics or comedians or actors. They're like, I just hate it when people, they know they should know me, or they feel like I'm famous, and because other people have asked for pictures and they just want in on it. But I was totally doing that thing going, old rocker guy, black hair, shows in Columbus, who's performing in New York this week. So I just thought that was a unique experience, and it was noteworthy.
To comment on the Bobby Lee thing or comedians, I feel like they wouldn't like any scenario where people act abnormal around them in any way. I don't think there's a version where people go out of their way to interact with the celebrity who's not in the mood to deal with it that they would enjoy. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Fair. I think what they mean is that they don't mind the regular, like, hey man, big fan, can I get a picture? It's when people think that Bobby Lee is Ken Jeong, who he already kind of has beef with,
Yeah.
and they've just seen somebody else get a photo with them, and they just want in on it. So they're like, hey, photo, but they don't even really know who he is. Now it's like you're annoying me, and you don't even actually know who I am. You're going to look it up later.
Yeah. And they're right. To be fair, he's right. What he's saying, I get it. But I like at the most innocent level, isn't it just people excited to get to do something or be around somebody that put themselves in a unique situation? Like, what else do you expect people to do? It's like, now if the person gets a picture and sells it to a tabloid for some reason because they're just trying to make money, that's one thing. But like, it's also like, well, you put yourself in the limelight, you have to just accept. I do think it's funny to also, which I'm sure is equally annoying, when people get celebrities get mistaken for other celebrities and they continue the conversation that way. Like, oh, I loved you in this, and they're like, I wasn't. That's not me. That's Jake Gyllenhaal. I'm not Jake Gyllenhaal. And they're like, oh no, you were great in that. And then they like keep going down that thing. I think as the celebrity, it's best to just lean into it and go, yeah, thanks, man.
Thanks, appreciate it. Yep.
Appreciate it.
We all good?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Here's the other layer of this, and I apologize because I've asked you guys to do this when people make choices out in public that we find noteworthy. And I wish I could remind myself more often that I have a podcast and just ask the question for content purposes. Under normal social circumstances, if I didn't have a podcast, I wouldn't bother those two guys that I first saw and said, hey, who do you mind if I ask who you're traveling with? But then I should remember in the moment, I have a podcast. And even if they are like, piss off, dude, like, we're not going to tell you because you're going to do, like, now I have a better story than the one that just ended pretty mildly. I need to keep reminding myself, like, no matter what happens, it's better because I've got a podcast and I can tell the story than just letting this moment pass and me still to this day not knowing who I saw on the plane.
So the unsatisfying conclusion is worse than a disappointing one.
An embarrassing one is even better.
Yeah.
Because it'll still make for a good story and I can self-effacE with the best of them.
So like, I was sure today that I saw the actor Dabney Coleman is what you're asking, but then it turns out he's dead and probably doesn't eat at Longhorn Steakhouse in rural Ohio is what that would be. A
Dabney
disappointing
Coleman?
That you Google him, you know who it is.
I've never heard that name
you
in my life.
You don't know the name, it's like Paul Giamatti 10 years ago. Everyone knew who Paul Giamatti was, but they probably didn't know the name.
Dabney Coleman.
Look up Dabney Coleman and you know who he is. You'll look at him and go, oh, that guy. Because you're gonna know. People should Google it. Look him up.
No.
Yes, you do.
No.
Scroll through his pictures. Yes, you do. You're full of it.
No.
You know who it is. Yes, you've seen him in things. Look at his filmography.
I'm just assuming that I don't know who it is. What was his name again?
Dabney Coleman.
Dabney Coleman.
Yes. You've seen him in things. Look at his filmography. You know who he is.
Anyway, can I tell you about this? On the same plane, when we get to LaGuardia, while Kendall's looking that up, plane lands an hour late in LaGuardia. Everybody stands up right away. Pet peeve. It's fine. Guy stands up with a 22 Rudiger soccer jersey on. He plays for freaking doesn't matter. One of the international teams. Versace shorts. Versace loafers. Gold Rolex. And I'm like, this guy's probably somebody.
Yep.
That's not the type of person you see rolling through Columbus on the reg.
That's true.
So I'm pretty sure I saw an old British rocker, and I'm going to go ahead and say he wouldn't wear his own jerseys, but I'm going to guess that he's another athlete or rapper sporting Rudiger's jersey.
Yeah.
Okay, do you know Dabney Coleman, Kendall?
I don't know. And
Oh my gosh.
I looked at a giant list of movies and I don't think I've seen a one of them.
You haven't seen, okay, hold on.
So fact check, Antonio Rudiger plays for Real Madrid. Sorry, I didn't know that.
You've Got Mail. Neither of you have seen You've Got Mail.
I've seen it.
Okay, you've seen him then. Tootsie. He was in Tootsie. He's been in a bunch of TV shows. He was in Beverly Hillbillies. He's been in stuff. You've seen him in stuff.
Okay.
You've seen those movies. People know. Go look him up. Go watch those movies I just said. You've seen him.
We were probably crazy. Yeah.
He was in.
I don't know. I saw some younger photos of him and I thought he kind of looked like old photos of Walt Disney. Not that there's any new photos of Walt Disney.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm missing big stuff that he's been into. I mean, I feel like Beverly Hillbillies was a pretty big one. He was in Columbo for a long time. Yeah, he was in. You've seen him. People have seen him. He was in Dragnet. You've seen him and stuff. Anyways, you might have very well run into several celebrities like I did Dabney Coleman today.
At a Longhorn Steakhouse.
At Longhorn
In
Steakhouse
heaven.
in rural Ohio. Turns out he's a big carnivore.
Yeah. Well, there's a local celebrity, one of our meteorologists who has recently retired, Jim Ganol, who my wife did see at Longhorn Steakhouse in Gahanna.
What?
One time. And
it's the place to be.
Yeah. And Longhorn Steakhouse is like one of my top 5 favorite restaurants. And so like we go there, not crazy often, but a good handful of times a year, which for a restaurant is often. And every time I go now, I'm always like looking for Jim Ganol, hoping that I see Jim Ganol. And I've never seen Jim Ganol at Longhorn Steakhouse.
Certainly local celebrities. I've seen it a few. I'm trying to think. So I used to work, for anybody that knows Ohio very well, or Central Ohio decently. Easton Town Center is arguably the most popular mall entertainment venue in at least Central Ohio. Mm-hmm. And I used to work there. And so a good number of people would come in, the mayor, a bunch of former Ohio State players and people like that. The Arnold Fitness Classic is in Columbus. It's an international fitness show. Very big deal if you're into that. I'm obviously not, but they would come to Easton. Arnold and Sly Stallone would come to Easton and walk around and get graders and walk around. So they came in many times. I wasn't there, but Diane Lane walked into Bo's once. Also, the Easton store is kind of close to the airport, or Easton Mall, so it was easy for people to like go and get a hotel room and kind of find something to do for a little bit before they went back to the hotel. Patterson Joseph, he is a British actor. If you Google him, if you're into British shows, you've likely seen him in things. He was in the newest Willy Wonka movie. He was one of the 3 bad guy chocolatiers. So met him, very nice guy, sat and had a conversation with him for a while. He was doing Shakespeare touring the US. So yes, some sort of mild celebrities, if you want to call that, or regional celebrities, have bumped into a couple, unlike my boy Dabney, who was not Dabney, but I thought it was for at least a brief time.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of celebrities, you guys know that we regularly try to understand Gen Z better. They certainly confound us. And it's been a running conversation on this podcast. I heard a term from the Gen Zers while listening to another podcast this week, and I wanted you guys' take on it. Did you know that this is Rat Boys? I can't even say. I can't even say it. I'm sorry. It's Rat Boy Summer. Did you know it's Rat Boy Summer?
It's what now?
It's Rat Boy Summer. Did you know that this is a thing?
Rat, as in like a rodent.
Yep. It's
Boy.
Rat Boy Summer. It gets better. Wait till you hear the explanation. So I'm going to read some excerpts from a Men's Health article about Rat Boy Summer. Feel free to look it up because it provides an image. WTF is a Rat Boy Summer anyway. Men who look like hot rodents are apparently the most eligible bachelors out there.
What the heck?
Allow us to explain. You probably wouldn't describe rodents as hot. We wouldn't either. But the term hot rodent boyfriend has been unavoidable over the last few weeks. You may be thinking, WTF, or wondering, is this another example of the outrageous and frequently fleeting slang that have spawned from the minds of Gen Z? The answer to which is, well, yes. Regardless, it's a clear from its coverage that we're in for a Rat Boy Summer, and the rodents are coming out to play. The term is a partial product of this summer's horniest film, Challengers, which stars Mike Feist and Ratatouille superfan Josh O'Connor as the love interests of Zendaya's character, Tashi Duncan, who dominates them on and off the court. Alongside the two Challengers stars, many of Hollywood's biggest names have helped coin the new phrase, including Timothée Chalamet, Barry Keoghan, Kieran Culkin, and Maddie Healy. The term has been pushed more and more mainstream by women online, with many of them expressing a desire for a partner with hot rodent qualities. A hot rodent man is essentially a way of describing a skinny, lanky, unconventionally attractive dude who does not embody stereotypical macho-like attributes. He has a more pointed, angular facial structure that is almost rat or mouse-like. He rocks messy hair, sports vintage clothing, and, to borrow the internet's phrasing, is so wan as to appear one cigarette away from death. This is the type of man who consistently smells of Santal 33, musky tobacco, and stale coffee. These guys embrace their unconventional looks and break away from the more overly muscular macho sex appeal that has become expected from our male celebrities and from regular guys too. Despite its ugly name, this trend, while silly on the surface, could actually be a good thing for some men's self-image as well as their dating prospects. A hot rodent man is really just the internet's newest way of romanticizing or glamorizing what's otherwise known as a normal guy. You know, the overwhelming majority of men who simply don't look like Hollywood stars, similar to how the dad bod movement celebrated guys like Patrick Mahomes and Jason Kelsey, bellies and all. The hot rodent trend is steering away from the hypermasculine stereotypes historically idolized in pop culture and encouraging us to appreciate your average looking Joe. So we are in the midst of
Rat Boy Summer.
Rat Boy Summer. So like, so is it Barry Keoghan who Dillon was in the Irish, sorry, what was the Irish movie you liked?
Oh yes, he was in it. I'm blanking on the name, but it was Colin Farrell and Gleason.
This guy.
Yeah. He was also in the Apple TV Bomber show that we talked about.
Looks like a rat. Rat Boy Summer.
Yep, I get it now.
So unconventional features, squinty eyes, pointy, long noses. Thoughts? I mean, Gen Z. Whew, I want to understand you.
I mean, that's fine. I guess trends of what people are into vary and change, and I don't have an issue with that. I guess I don't really have an issue with calling it Rat Boy either. That's fine. It's just odd. It's probably not what I would have come up with.
Yeah. I think they could have just called it Settling. Would have been probably fine.
Rat Boy Summer. I don't know.
I mean, I have to sit and think about who else would qualify. I mean, fine. It's fine. Whatever people want. And if at the end of the day, Rat Boy is a weird compliment, I guess it's not even worth getting mad about. You just lean into it, at least this summer. And maybe by next summer, it'll be Chunky Bear Summer. maybe it won't be Rat Boy anymore. But
Chunky Bear. We're having a Winnie the Pooh fall.
Careful. some of those terms have other subcultures. So if anybody out there that listens to our show happens to have Gen Z kids or can shed any light to some of the slang or further understanding of Rat Boy Summer, I would appreciate it. So weigh in. We have in the description below. We have ways that you can reach out to us. You can email or text or leave a voicemail, comment below. And while you're at it, could you please explain Sabrina Carpenter to me? She just kind of came out of nowhere and was like on stage with Taylor Swift playing the piano. She was from Girl Meets World. Could you also explain JoJo Siwa to me? I don't understand if you guys know anything about JoJo Siwa.
I don't know what language you're speaking.
She was one of the girls in Dance Moms, the reality show that followed like these crazy stage moms.
Oh, I watched a couple episodes of that.
Well, now she's like a pop star, but she's getting in trouble for like getting drunk at Disney and getting mad that people don't recognize her. So the internet like trolls her really hard because she kind of came up on a reality show, so she's quasi famous to begin with. But now she's trying to be bigger than she is. Young Gravy. Anyway, these other popular Gen Z icons that I don't understand. If you could shed some light on any of that, that would be fantastic. And I really don't want to sound like the whole kids these days thing, which I realize I'm fully sounding like now. It's almost comical to me, some of the stuff.
Yeah.
Going on.
Well, there's a difference between not understanding it and saying you don't understand it because you're trying to talk down about the subject and say like, this is silly. It's just really not understanding. Maybe she should have walked around Disney with a Rat Boy and then people would have recognized her.
If a girl comes up to you, a Gen Z girl comes up to you and you're a Gen Z boy and she's like, ooh, you're like my little Rat Boy. Like, are you excited about that? Like, are like, ha, or are you like, my time has come? I've known I've had rat-like features since I was 6. This is my moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like if you are a Rat Boy, you've probably been subconscious about it. And the thought has crossed your mind that I look like a rat. And then now your day has come. And for Rat Boys out there everywhere, I'm happy for you.
But point of clarification, does this mean that these girls are also into Rat Boy features of the kid down the street that's, a grade below her, or like the celebrities that have it's one thing to be into the celebrities that have this sort of look, but then totally dismiss the, some Rat Boy from the neighborhood sliding into your DMs. Because it's like, oh, ew, I know you. You're my sister's, or you're my friend's little brother. Gross, go away. I need to know if this is just like a celebrity thing versus this is actually being used for like the kid that you sit in chemistry with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because teen girls liking the atypical, not blonde, not what do they call it? The Chad, or the like chiseled jaw type of looking
Glenn
guy.
Powell type.
Yeah, that liking the alternative dude is very normal. Something about calling it Rat Boy Summer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That sent me, man. I laughed for a minute. It was good.
Yeah, the sort of family friendly version of what you're talking about, you can probably go on YouTube and find it quick, is Steve Carell Gen Z terms, and somebody's interviewing him, giving him a term, and he's trying to explain what he thinks it means.
Oh, that's great. I'm
going
to go do it.
And some he gets wrong, and some he gets right. But if you like Michael Scott and Steve Carell, it's a cute video to go watch. He has fun.
Oh man. That's a great new idea for when we do these Gen Z slang things.
Yeah.
Have one person who knows and ask the other, like make the other two tell you what it is.
We kind of do it in our year in review, yeah.
I almost stole the questions to reference it, but then I'm like, I'm literally just verbatim taking the idea from a Steve Carell video. So we'll just shout out their video and people can go watch it and go laugh.
I mean, Sebastian Maniscalco does that to us all the time.
That's true. They're constantly doing the same things we do right after we've talked about
exactly.
it. It's wild.
And we kind of have done the what do you guys think it means in our year in review episodes.
That's true. That's true. That's not a new
segment
segment for us.
You know what else that people should check out? This next podcast that you're going to hear all about. They're our friends.
That
and
one. Yes.
video.
The one
Go
that's
check
next. Listen to them.
Please.
After listening to us.
After us. Yeah. Don't turn us off.
Right.
Finish us. Finish our episode.
Finish
the episode that you're listening.
Finish listening to this podcast episode.
Finish this episode.
And then sometime between now and next Wednesday, listen to these people.
Yeah.
And then you can finish them off.
Hey, I'm Pantsless Aaron.
This is Stevie.
And I'm Augie.
And we are BFYTW, a podcast all about playing games and having fun. Our games are usually based on British panel shows and game shows, but we'll play anything that captures our attention and imagination. Why? It's right there in the title.
You'll never guess what the F stands for.
And then Dabney said, "Oh, we're back." So anyways, that's a great show. Definitely check that one out and literally download every single one of their episodes on every single device in your home and in the homes of your loved ones. Anyways, Kory's doing a thumbs up and getting an emoji for doing it. Man, we are just, the visual gags are off the charts tonight. So definitely make sure to subscribe to our YouTube. Like we mentioned, Kendall's got more magic. He's doing more magic. That's awesome. I just realized last night, he's doing more magic. You should see the things Kendall can make disappear. That's incredible. Wow. I wish I could describe this to the people that can only listen and hear it and not see it. But I can't. It would be impossible to do it justice. The only thing I'm good at making disappear is listeners. So hopefully you're enjoying this episode so far. I realized just yesterday or the day before, one of the days, that I just went to Lion King at the Ohio Theater not long ago, and it was great. And I totally forgot to talk about it because we were talking about other things. But I think it's like one of the best shows I've ever seen. Not that I've seen a ton, but I think it's one of the best shows I've ever seen. So if you ever get the chance, more stuff is coming. Columbus has several great theaters, and you can see lots of great shows. I know Hamilton is coming, and I think they're going to do Grinch around Christmas and lots of other great shows. So Lion King was really good. The music was incredible.
Fun. Were there real animals?
There was so much feces all over from the animals. But no, there was not. But they had incredible costumes. They did a really great job with the costumes to make it look like they were animals. And I was really impressed. It was really cool show. So just throwing it out there because we didn't talk about it.
Well, I think it's related to another thing I wanted to bring up. We probably have a lot of fans who are Midler's listeners who are Back to the Future fans. And I've heard that musical is doing really, really well. Started in London, interestingly enough, but it's touring here in the US. I think it's currently in Cleveland, where you can check out Back to the Future. But I'm hearing really good things from my musical friends.
That sounds cool. I think I would enjoy that.
Right?
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
That's a great trilogy. And yeah, I bet it's a cool show.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure they've said that they have like no interest in making more of them. Like it's done, wrapped up, tidy little bow. Don't need to bring it back or redo it, which I'm fine. I'm fine with. It's a perfectly reasonable stance on a classic.
I don't know how you'd do it with any justice without Christopher Lloyd and Michael J. Fox. And Christopher Lloyd's getting older, and Michael J. Fox is not able to do as much with his acting career as he probably would like. And so, yeah, I think leave it, let it stand where it is. Yeah.
I don't even want to pretend like I have any good ideas for it, but I think you'd have to at least use Christopher Lloyd with like a James Bond M kind of situation where you like use him to bring in a new kid that's time traveling, and then maybe you introduce somebody long enough, people get used to them, and then replace Doc.
Yeah, if you had, it's similar to what they did with Ghostbusters, right? Like you still had some of the old guys, like the original cast, sort of like proverbially passing the torch to a younger generation, and it's time travel, so you can play with that a little bit. But like,
Right.
got to at least have Christopher Lloyd in there to weave it all together if you were going to do it. But like to like straight up reboot it with a new Doc and a new Marty, and I don't know.
I agree.
Yeah. Maybe we might see like a remake in another 10 years, in 20 years, something like those lines. I would be probably as okay with that as I would be with nothing. So
I'm glad you liked it, Dillon, and I know that they've gone to great lengths to make those animal costumes like feel like real animal movement.
Yeah. I think we've all probably seen like clips and stuff from it somewhere, and it does look really, really cool.
Yeah, they did a great job. And it's interesting even how, like, one quick example, for like Mufasa and Scar, the actors sort of have this pole that extends to a mask, and when they're being aggressive or angry towards one another, the actor drops down so the mask falls in front of their head as this sort of like lion ready to pounce sort of stance. And then most of the rest of the time they sort of stand and the mask goes up and it reveals the actor's face as sort of their normal demeanor, non-aggressive demeanor. And so it's like a cool way to represent.
Yeah. It's kind of like a Lion King doing like Power Rangers kind of thing.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, they have their own little Mighty Morphin moment.
Yeah. And then the putties came out.
Well, yeah, I think it's a great, like, even for the kids watching, they recognize that the stage actor isn't pretending to be a full-on lion, but they're portraying a lion. And so it allows them to walk that line a little bit. Because if they were just in full animal costume, that wouldn't work and it would be weird.
Yeah.
Trying to walk on all fours and make it. So that's a great solution. I think.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very cool. So sometimes we do artsy things. And so I did an artsy thing and we talked about the artsy thing so that people know I'm not just a football idiot, which is also true, to be fair, but not exclusively a football idiot.
But he won't be doing any artsy things for the next 2 or 3 weeks.
While.
For the coming months.
It's going to be a while.
He's just going to be a football idiot.
Yeah.
Yep. We're going to have an intervention at some point to get Dillon to change his underwear.
Yeah. Maybe you shouldn't subscribe to our YouTube because you might just see my face pointing off screen going, yep.
Yeah. Sounds good.
In the background, kind of thing. So maybe not. I don't know. Do what you will.
So we finished up our Pittsburgh trip, and there were no more Lion King actors at our Pittsburgh trip.
I have. Can I double click that real quick?
Do that.
You're. I'm so sorry. I got a text from my friend, Chris. Okay, he said, I just started listening to your latest podcast episode, and I thought I would send you these. I stayed at the Westin in Atlanta about 3 weeks ago, and these people were checking in.
No way.
Look at that.
Yes. Oh, man.
Wow.
And then I said, Strange, you have really close shots, and they seem very comfortable with you. He said, my cohorts and I were discussing how we should enlist them in the military and send them over the hill first. Can you imagine how scared shitless our enemies would be if we sent werewolves as our first line of defense?
Nothing scarier than a human in a Fox mascot costume running at you with an M16.
Here's the gross part. He said, one guy was dressed up as a fire hydrant. What's up with that?
Ooh,
Ooh, that is definitely. I think that's. I bet you it's the
spicy.
subculture of the vor culture.
We
Yeah.
all what he wants.
I was reading about. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's all fun and
Anyway.
games until you. Yeah, I'm not going to
Okay.
get into.
Okay. So anyway, sorry, I just had to share that because it felt like a relevant
Okay.
follow up.
I get called out for Chunky Bear, and you go that far. Okay, fine.
I'm just relaying the story.
Sure. Oof. Thanks, Chris. But seriously, thank you for interacting. We do love it, and we hope people keep doing it. Anyways, does this feel like the time where we start talking about anything that we're watching? Does this?
Kendall was.
Oh, I'm
Kendall
so
was
sorry.
talking about
Pittsburgh.
wrapping up his
I don't have
Pittsburgh.
any major stories. Just that it
Okay.
was a fine vacation. That there were no more furry encounters, which I really appreciated. We visited Amy's old college, Grove City College, northwest. I don't remember, near Pittsburgh, and that was all. That was all good. It was all good.
Remind
We
me, did
ate.
you guys meet after she was out of college, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She was out of grad school, which was Vanderbilt.
Okay.
Was working at Children's in Columbus, and then that's when we met.
That's what I thought, that it was a little later.
Also, to double click on Vanderbilt, I already knew she was smart, and then you just keep like doubling and tripling down on how smart she is. So
Yeah, Vanderbilt is
awesome.
not a stupid people college, unfortunately.
Nope.
It's, there you got me. Hi guys.
No, Arizona State. Pulled that one out of left field.
University of Phoenix. Are we from the ashes? Okay. Anyways,
it was good. I wanted to highlight. Probably talked about it before. We did a couple of the "this is what you got to eat when you're in Pittsburgh" things, and for neither Amy or I was it our first trip to Pittsburgh. So we've done some of that kind of stuff before, but it was on our drive home for lunch. We just like pulled off or like next place that has restaurants, we're eating lunch. And then so at the next exit, Amy's on her phone looking at what the restaurant options are. And there was a place that was just called Alice's Restaurant. We're like, all right, we're doing that. And so we looked up. It was the best place. It just a little diner in the middle of like a poor neighborhood, but they're all poor neighborhoods in that area of the country because of the steel industry has gone to kaputs. But I mean, you walk in and there's just like an old guy and another guy who's clearly a contractor of some kind. Like they were just chilling in there talking to each other, along with a guy who was obviously worked there, was kind of like just like sitting there at the counter too, like listening in. And someone else came in. I think it was one of their wives came in and like hugged the other guy. And they're just like talking about weather and politics and news and stuff. The gal comes over to take our order, and like she's just the nicest person in the world. Asks us where we were from because she knew that we weren't from there, and gave us some ideas of a place to go, a chocolate factory, their very own chocolate factory in their town to go to. And so like we ended up doing that. They had a sandwich that was one of the best sandwiches I have ever had in this place. It was, I mean, it was a steak sandwich, and I usually avoid steak sandwiches because I don't like pulling. I don't like pulling on gristle and things like that. That always end up in a steak sandwich, with the exception of like Philly steak sandwiches. Right, it's a different kind of it's finely chopped stuff. That was the kind of steak that was on this sandwich, and I mean it was a beautiful experience, and I wish we would have eaten in places like that more while we were in Pittsburgh rather than some other places. But
something about that pace of life is just so endearing. And I'm sitting outside of convenience stores eating corn nuts in a chair.
Yeah.
You're right there with me, man. You want to read a newspaper in Alice's Restaurant. You get
That's
it.
what I want to do. That is, I want to retire and spend all of my mornings. Even I guess it doesn't even necessarily matter the restaurant. We all know, I think, or have seen the old guy table at McDonald's in the mornings.
Yeah.
Every McDonald's has an old guy club
Yep.
that shows up every morning. I want to be one of them.
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
what I want to do.
Let's go.
First of all, you had me at sandwich. Second, yes, you're exactly right. It's the place where you can go complain about the price of coffee, but you go get the cup of coffee every morning because you're sitting there talking. You're like, oh, I remember when this was pre-COVID. This was, $1.29 cup of coffee, and now it's $1.89.
I want to go to a place where like the person who's standing behind the counter taking your order makes fun of you because they love you. That's what I want.
Mm-hmm.
I want people who look down on life because it's like just what you do. Like, how are you doing? Well, better than you, or I wish I were you, or, this side of the grass. What's up? A duck's ass when it's fishing, like that.
Yeah.
I want to hear those kinds of words come out of people's mouths. That's what I want.
How you doing? Oh, I'd complain, but nobody would listen.
Exactly.
It's that kind of response. I think that's the part of Midwest culture we probably don't talk about enough. All the way from Pittsburgh out to somewhere where there's lots of corn. I think that's a pretty common sentiment. It's like if the fried steak tenderloin sandwich isn't bigger than my head, what am I even paying for? What's good? Very wholesome.
Case asked, he said, hey, can we have some daddy case time? And I said, that sounds good, buddy. What do you want to do? Usually he wants to eat. And I said, where do you want to go? And he said, McDonald's. So I threw him on the bike and we rode to McDonald's. And we were the only ones in there, except for one old guy at the old guy table. And he was doing that. It was breakfast. And he was like, they just cannot get this order right. Every time I come in here, I say whatever he said, more butter, less butter, no syrup, more syrup. I can't remember what his complaint was. And he also thought that they had gypped him one food item. So we walked up and they're like, Roger, we keep telling you they changed this combo meal a year and a half ago and they haven't included that. You ask for it every time. And he's like, well, these guys don't know what they're doing. I tell you. He comes back to us. And he was just like, you two have a good day. Enjoy riding that motorcycle. I think there's rain coming. You better be careful. And I was like, thanks, man. Appreciate it. I want to be that guy.
Because there's somebody that works there that's been there for 15 years. Her name is Sue. And they're like, when Roger comes up, he thinks this combo still has a McRib. It doesn't have a McRib anymore. But just make him this and put barbecue sauce on it and he'll be fine. What do we charge him for it? Don't charge him for it. Just make it and give it to him. And that happens. And it's a thing.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny like how life sort of prepares you for that next thing too? Like if we were Gen Zers, desiring to be the old guys at the old guy table would be so crazy to us. Mm-hmm. But because we're almost 40 or 40, like we're like, I'm ready for that. I'm ready for that phase of life.
Do that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Falling asleep in the lazy boy sounds nice.
Yeah.
Sounds like a nice afternoon.
When you're a little kid, you're like, naps are the worst. And now you're like, naps might be on a weekend one of the greatest things ever. So nice.
Indeed.
Anyway, so yes, we can get to streaming now, Dillon.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad we got to circle back to Pittsburgh. That was great. I was on Pitt's campus. Nice. It was once. It was very nice. So I've been to Pittsburgh a few times and have enjoyed it. I don't have a strong desire to go back. No offense. It's fine. Yeah, it's nice. That's probably what a lot of people say about Columbus or Cincinnati or Cleveland. Like, yeah, it's nice. Mm-hmm. It's fine.
Well, now you have Alice's to look forward to.
There you go. I'm going to stop at Alice's. Did I mention going to see Inside Out 2? Did we talk about that?
No.
On the podcast? Okay. The reason it's notable, two things. One thing that's less important to me, or not important to me at all, but is notable. Inside Out 2 is now Pixar's highest grossing film of all time, which is pretty remarkable. Less remarkable when you realize movies just cost a lot more than they did before. But still, $1.25 billion is a lot of dollars. People seem to love it. That means movies can work in theaters. So we know that the movie theater isn't dead. But the reason it was much more notable to me is we took Finley, and that was her first movie ever in a movie theater. She's 6. We went to try to get like an afternoon showing. I think it was a week or two after the movie came out. And you could not get tickets together more than one seat other than the very front row for any of the afternoon showings. It was absurd. And I didn't want that to be her first showing. Now, the movie theater near us is AMC. They bought it a while back, but all the theaters have the nice powered recliners. It's not just there's a fancy theater that has it and then the cheap theaters don't. They all have them. So you can just pick any theater and you know that you're going to get like good seats. So we had to wait for the 8:40 showing, which if you keep track with previews, that means about a 9 o'clock start. And that's typically after her bedtime. So we weren't sure if that was going to work, but she really wanted to see it. And that was the time that worked. So we thought we would try it. She did great. She did kind of curl up in her seat a few times, like she was going to doze off, but then I just poked her and I was like, no, it's almost over. Just keep going. So she stayed awake. She loved it. She had a great time. She was very good. We didn't have to get up and go to the bathroom, and we all thought it was a great movie. I think Brie cried a little bit. If you haven't seen it, it's very sweet. It's probably as good as the first one. So whether you go to the theaters and see it or wait for Disney Plus or whatever, it doesn't matter. Inside Out 2 is very, very good. So that's one thing I'm watching. I'm excited to finish The Acolyte. I'll be happy to talk about The Acolyte more once it's over. It's not over for me. I haven't seen it all yet, so I'll talk about that maybe next time. And then the last thing I wanted to mention, we got another free trial of Apple TV Plus, and we just watched the 4th season of the show called Trying. I don't know if we've talked about it before. I don't really want to give a whole lot of the premise because I don't want to really give away what it's about, but it's a dramedy kind of British slice of life show about a couple and their desire to expand their family. So it's very sweet. It's very cute. I think it's family friendly. I haven't really noticed much language, but some of these British shows are just so good at getting a great mix of characters and really good actors for the characters. And they don't mind shying away from sad, finding real ways to be sad, but also keep it really sweet. And so it feels like some of the shows that Ricky Gervais has done, but not nearly as those are really geared towards adults. This one I think is much more approachable for more people. So if you have Apple TV Plus and you like dramedies, mostly a comedy, check out Trying. It's very sweet. It's a very good show. All 4 seasons are worth watching that are currently available. And I think it's a cliffhanger kind of on season 4. So you're kind of stuck hoping for more, that we get more out of Apple TV Plus. So that's what I'm streaming.
Awesome. Kendall, how about you, brother?
Man, it's still been just a busy summer and nothing but WWE. We just finished Money in the Bank, which was fun to watch. I'm really enjoying the Drew McIntyre storyline right now, because he is the guy where like you're not sure if you love him or hate him, and he's just super frustrated and is always like right there for the championship belt, and then something dumb happens and it just keeps happening. It's like Groundhog Day for him trying to get the heavyweight championship. And so that's been a lot of fun. He at WrestleMania won the championship from Seth Rollins, had it for all of 4 minutes and lost it, the way that things had turned out. And then he had another opportunity after that, and then now he has he won Money in the Bank, the Money in the Bank match, and then tried to cash it in later that night, and it went awry in weird ways. And it's been kind of comical to watch. And now my boys are turning into Drew McIntyre fans.
All right, so I got to double click on that one because I think most people are familiar with the idea that WWE or whatever has like pay-per-view events or paid events that are higher profile matches. I have no idea what a Money in the Bank is.
Ah, okay. So Money in the Bank, there's a ladder match that happens among a group of dudes, and a ladder match meaning there's ladders around the ring, and suspended above the ring is the prize that they're trying to get to, right? And so there's no count outs or anything like that. It's just the first one able to get up a ladder and get the prize wins the ladder match. In this case, the prize is a briefcase, the Money in the Bank briefcase. Inside of that briefcase is a contract that lets you challenge the holder of any championship belt of your choosing whenever you want, wherever you want. Bring a referee with you, and it's going to go down right now in the ring. So that's what it is. And so that means that, and typically what you would do is you would wait until there is a championship match that you're interested in that title. Wait until the very end of that match. Hopefully it ended very brutally, and then challenge right then and there. So now you're fresh. The either new champion or the defending champion is tired from fighting, and you get that advantage then at that point. So there was a championship match later on that day after the men's Money in the Bank match, ladder match, which Drew McIntyre won. And then he challenged, and CM Punk has been the one getting in the way every single time of Drew's claims to glory. So
there we go. Today,
which is fun and exciting. The last Money in the Bank guy took it all the way to WrestleMania, which means he went almost a full year holding on to the briefcase. And then Drew McIntyre had the briefcase for almost an entire show.
So do they actually just show him walking around backstage places with like the briefcase in their hand?
I mean, yeah, sometimes in the way that they do.
Yeah.
And now you know.
Now I know.
Well, while we're on the wholesome tip, and we've already talked about Bobby Lee, he recently acted in a movie called Sweet Dreams. I downloaded it and watched it on the flight. Sweet Dreams follows Morris, played by Johnny Knoxville, who must coach a misfit softball team of his fellow housemates during his mandatory stay at Sweet Dreams Sober Living in order to get his life back on track. It opens up with him waking up bloody on a park bench, and he's just done something really stupid, and he may never see his daughter again, so he has to go to this recovery house where he goes through the AA program. And there's a lot of comedians in it, and interestingly, a lot of folks who have in real life been in AA. So it's Bobby Lee, Johnny Knoxville, as I mentioned, Jay Moore, Theo Vaughn is in it, and he's sober. Johnny Park, also known as Dumbfounded, the Korean rapper, Adam Faison, Chelsea Lynn, who's blowing up on social media, and her career is blowing up. She plays the Trailer Park Tammy character on TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
So she is the umpire in the softball games. And it's really, really sweet. Since we're on the wholesome tip and there's a theme of that, it's just like, and Johnny Knoxville can act, man. When he's doing some of his like AA around the circle, telling his story, like I was getting choked up at Johnny Knoxville acting. So if you want to watch, like, I mean, it's a serious subject matter, but it's, I think I'm trying to figure out what it's rated. Anyway, it was really good. It was fun watching Bobby and Theo, but like, man, I was legitimately blown away by Johnny Knoxville's acting ability. And he plays the character. It's a very believable character. And it was really fun. So check that out. Sweet Dreams. That's up.
That's fun. That's some
all I got.
Some good suggestions. I'm going to get into trying. I'm going to try trying. And I also want to get into Sweet Dreams. So
awesome. Let me know what you think of trying. It's very sweet. It's one of the better shows that I've watched in a long time. That obviously I'm drawn to like Marvel and Star Wars stuff because it's big and it's fun and there's action and whatever. But like of the shows that aren't action, it's one of the best shows I've watched in a long time. So
speaking of fun things to watch, this has been a very visually stimulating episode. So if you've only listened to this one, it might be a fun one to go back and watch on YouTube. And if you're not following us on YouTube, we're not YouTubers, we're podcasters, but we also happen to have a YouTube channel. So follow us on YouTube, click the dingy bell and like and subscribe and all the things. But please interact with us.
50,000 likes and we'll take our shirts off.
Yeah, for sure. And for the real ones who stuck around, I'll give you a little view of what I'm seeing outside my window.
Oh yeah. Look at that. Look, there's even a purple UFO hanging out over
Isn't
Manhattan.
that cool? So if you stuck
That
around
is
to the
cool.
end, comment Los Tacos below. And that's how Los Tacos. That's
And
how
then
we'll know
what?
that. Yeah, that's it. Just
That's it,
say
nothing?
Los Tacos.
Okay.
Just say Los Tacos in the comments and we'll know you stuck around.
And
We
Kory
appreciate
is,
it.
do your Manhattan friends know that we exist?
I gotta go, guys.